using join condition? Yes, join, you can do that, but what about this one? You can see two select from where? One is over here, another one is over here. Actually, the second part is inside query as the variable of the and in where clause. So, why don't you go over? I'd like to access employee whose DNO in select from department whose name is research. Yes, it works, right? Then next employee and DNO2, whether DNO2 is in this one. Yes, DNO2, yes. So it can be one employee and department for each employee check run this query. This is called nested query. Query inside query. Yes?
Which would be more efficient, using this?
That's a good question.
Or doing a lift outer join?
Outer join? I don't know what is that. So who is it? But in this case, there's no other way because you need to access outer query first, then inner query. But in join condition, it will follow the order of table. It depends on the statistics of the data. How many rows are in the table. How big is that? We will discuss this then in the query processor. Query processor actually decompose. Select from where, select from where. That's called the SQL block. This is one block, this is another block. Then separate. Okay? So this is called nested query. Nested query sometimes can be implemented by join operation. Not always. There's another example of the nested query. It's a correlated query. So what is the main difference between this one and previous nested query? You may not remember this. This one and this one. I know this is totally different, but main difference is you can see EF name. E.F name means data in the outer query will be used inside query. They are correlated. Okay? However, here, actually, you can run this one just one time and save in the temporary memory area, then run this query line row by row, then compare with the output of this. But this one, you need to run for each employee and run every time this query because it's correlated. This is called correlated query. But they can be expressed as a single SQL block like this using join condition. Also, if you are using certain specific DBMS, nowadays most of DBMS support this inline view, which is called temporary table. So you can actually create a temporary table inside the query, and that can be used in the same query. It's very powerful in modern DBMS at the query, relational query. Okay? So we will see such an example in the exercise lab. There are several operations that can support the set operation, like the contains. Output of this one should contain this, which means subset. This one should be subset of this. Contains. And also exist means for each employee, there should exist dependent. No matter how many exist, it doesn't matter. Whether or not exist. So exist is a yes, true. Then employee will be returned. Exist actually used a lot. It's a very powerful option. What about not exist? Not exist is the usable in SQL, which means if there's no dependent, it will be returned. in operation means it's one of this, one over this. In other words, this can be 1 or 2 or 3. You can rely that this in operation like this. What about the not? We cannot compare not using equal or arithmetic operation or the logical operation. Why? Because not means doesn't exist. You cannot compare. You cannot operate. Actually, something non-existent. Doesn't make sense. So we define new operation is not what is not not. In case this is not, it's true. In case is not, it's true. Something like that. Join can be implemented as a join condition. Sometimes it can be implemented in the from clause, like the A join B, A natural join B, A left outer join B, A right outer join B, and cross join means a full join. Sometimes you can see A and B, where A left outer join B. This is left outer join. This can be the same from A and B, where join column is A, C1, C2, and plus sign. C2 is the column of B, C1 is column of A. At the time, left outer join is the same as C1 is equal to C2, then plus sign. It is not left. Okay, don't be confused. If you want a left outer join, opposite. Plus, I don't want. I always confuse. So in this case, left outer join means. What about the right outer join? So which means return all the data of B and match A at the time plus left hand side. This is the left right outer join. Use frequently. Wherever it's so left outer join like that. And if you have the join condition, on join condition. In this case, the left outer join like this. Okay, there's more examples. And finally, everyday function. Okay, so what does it mean? Maximum salary of all employees, minimum salary of all employees, average salary of all employees. How many tuple will be returned? How many data? Only one. Okay? This is the example of max salary and so on without grouping factor. Okay? That doesn't mean there is no group. The entire table will be considered as one group. Okay? What if we have a grouping factor? Okay? For example, this one. For each department, return the department number and number of employees. This is count. And this is the average salary. How can we do that? Select count. Select average salary from employee by what? Here. So we are going to have one more clauses, that is a group by. Select from where, then group by. When you have the grouping factor. So in this case, DN, one more important thing is, without DNO, you don't know which count of this, which average salary of this. So you should have grouping factor, exactly same thing here. Otherwise, you cannot recognize which one is which. However, even though you missed this part, you may not get the error in latest version of DBMS. In old version of DBMS relational model, it was error, but many people are complaining. I don't care whether or not, as long as it return the data, it's okay. So right now, if you are using the latest version of DBMS, so without this one, probably you will get the output. But you don't know which one is which. Also, many people, without this one, you can use the group by. There's no error, okay? However, this may cause performance issues. How can you do the group by operation? You need to sorting. Sorting is very, very expensive. It wastes computation, it wastes temporary space, takes a longer time. So, be careful when you are using the group by. When necessary, can use it. So, for example, this is a for each project. For each project, P number. But I want to retrieve the P name, so you can group by P number and P, the number and P name. Not a problem. In this case, you better have the same column of the group by factor, then you will get the error. You will get the output. What if I have condition? So for example here, I'd like to return only project whose count is bigger than 2. So it's a condition and count. Does it make sense? No. Why? This condition is before group by. So this condition is after group by. So you cannot use the group by condition in this where clause. Instead, you need to specify having clause. There's another one, having. This is the condition only for group by. So count is bigger than 2. Like that. Don't be confused. Think about, I'd like to group by, sort, the average age of the group of average age of the, I'd like to return the grade, okay? Freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, whose average age is bigger than 10, for example. Can I check the average before group by? No, first I need to classify by grade, right? Freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. Then average, and check whether their average is bigger than higher than 10 or not. So that condition cannot be used inside where clause instead of having clause. That's one common mistake. So this should be like this. Having condition. This condition only for after group by. There, as I said, there are many useful functions to compare the string. When you are using such a function, you can use the like operator. So for example, address like means I don't know. For example, as he asked, how do I know whether this is capital letter, lower letter? But I know that is something SEARCH. At the time, percentile means any before this. This one means after this. So for example, 11111 Houston. TX 2222. It will be written as long as it contains this substring. But if I'm going to consider only the end of, return all address end of this, at that time you can remove this part. What begins with, you can remove this part. At that time, you should use line operator. I'd like to compare by string, letter by letter. At that time, you can use underbar. Underbar means specific. So which means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 letter should be 5. You can use the arithmetic operator in the select like this one. Then after calculation, 1 times 1 times 1 times 1, 1.1 will be returned. Then finally, in this case, group by and heavy. When you are using the group by, it will be automatically sorted, right? Because you already sort the data to group. Without using the group by, I want to order by certain column, order by ID, order by SSN, order by name. That time you can use order by. There are two, ascending and descending. So you can specify ASC or DESC. Okay? Which one will be default? So ascending. Okay? That makes sense. Ascending is from lower to bigger number or the A to Z. And if you want to descending, you can specify DESC. Okay. So one more order by. So this is the basic component of select. Mostly this one, 99%. And so this is a quick summary, as we have said here. Select from where should end with this one. Is that the only command in the DML, data manipulation language? No. You have insert, delete, and update. For insert, after you create the table, insert into table name and value. So very simple. Insert into table name value and parentheses follow the order of column. What is the order of column? Then when you create a table, if you create a table, first name, middle name, initial, last name, you should follow that order. Otherwise, if data is not matched or not comparable, it will be error. Okay? What if I want to specify specific order? Employee, then you can put the list of columns that you want. This time, you can remove certain column if that is not non-null, which means non-null column should be specified here. Insert to insert the data, insert into, yes. Oh, this is different example. Insert into from other table by selecting. This selection is the same as what we have done just before. You can put that information, then insert into new table. Yes, it's possible. Delete. You can delete the data. Delete from table. If you want a specific tuple that you want to delete, you can specify the condition over here. Okay, or you can delete all the data. Update. You can update the data, specific color, update the project set. This is the update information. This is the condition. Only data whose the P number is 10 will be updated like this. However, after you update, insert the delete data, that doesn't mean the data are updated or deleted or inserted. Until when? Coming. What is coming? If you take the YouTube, the operating system class already, you provide the transaction, right? What is a transaction? It's a logical unit of processing. Okay? It's a basic unit. So you should end your transaction with what? commit or abort. Abort means cancel everything. So even though you update the data, if your transaction is aborted, like somebody Control C will kill your process, it cannot be applied until you commit the data. Okay, that's another common mistake. So for example, sometimes one of the students forgot the username and password or Oracle, so they are sharing. So it's okay. So he create a table and insert the data, so the other student would like to access the data that he create, but he cannot until he commit the data. Okay? That will be discussed in the transaction control, probably April or end of semester. Any other? Yes, we have several additional constraints that we have learned. That is the first time assertion that is implemented in the trigger. Trigger means it's kind of ECA or following ECA. Have you ever heard about ECA? You probably know. Event, condition, action. Okay? In case something happened, check whether that's satisfied with the condition. If yes, do something. So using this one, for example, whenever there's a new employee, we will check their salary. The salary cannot be more than mine. I'm CEO, so I should be the highest salary. So how can you check such a thing? If you do not have such a constraint, your program keep checking whether whenever data is inserted, whether data is higher than the CEO. It's a waste of resource and a waste of the program. So this time we can create such a trigger. Assertion is implemented as a trigger right now in most of DBMS. Trigger, which means you can create a trigger. Trigger means this kind of a bang, like that. Something happened, which means the new data is inserted, that is the event. Check whether their salary is higher than CEO. If yes, do something, like the logging or revoke or the copy or reduce, cut, you can do anything. That's the trigger. Another one, the last one is the view. I will explain the view later because there are lots of probably several important things. Okay, but it will be tested in the, I think, the exercise lab 5. So it will be okay. Okay, so next week we do not have any midterm. So our midterm will be March 27. So you can go to the 113. So for practice SQL. If you cannot remember your Oracle account and password, why don't you contact the, I think his name is Arafat, the GA of the Omar's office, the Professor Omar. His office is in charge of the Oracle database, so you can contact Arafat, who is in charge of the database. Okay? Anyone who do not receive any email,